Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Journey to Greatness. Day 40 of 365 with David McDonald, the GOAT. All right. I will see you all on the other side. All right, everybody, welcome back. Good morning, my brother. AJ, good morning. Good morning. Auntie Louisa, Fatima, good morning. Good morning. So we just finished our meditation routine. Now we're going to begin our journaling routine. And I will see you all on the other side. Journal day 40. All right, everybody, welcome back. Okay, so we just finished our journaling routine, and now we're going to get into our reading routine. My cushion's super uncomfortable today because I switched it around. So the other side I've been sitting on for the last 40 or 39 days is like sloped. But now that I've switched everything around, it's like this side is like this sitting up. So my back is like anyway. All right, I'll see you guys on the other side. That's All right, everybody, welcome back. Woo! We got a good one today, a really good one. So, chapter 7 is titled Facing Our Prejudice. Yesterday, we talked about the law of divine compensation, which is the title of the book, and releasing our, oh, wait, let me see. No. Beyond guilt. So, not being guilty or not feeling guilty for things that we may have done in the past that were not aligned with who we are. And understanding that if we create the space and we forgive ourselves and we move on and we see ourselves in a higher light than what that previous experience was, that the universe can change the direction of all consequences and of all things that we may face because of our actions. Now, you just have to be open to that. But if you dwell in that space of guilt and anger and all these other emotions, then you're going to manifest a reality that is going to be hell. So chapter 7, the book doesn't say that last part, but in my mind, that's what it would be. Facing our prejudice. So another way we deflect wealth is through the unrecognizable belief that it's not okay to have money. Just as some people are prejudiced against the poor, some are prejudiced against the rich. So let me continue. As long as we're making money righteously, we're not only receiving a blessing, but also extending one to others. No matter how much we struggle for financial abundance, we'll have a hard time attaining if we disapprove of those who have it. If we're saying one thing but thinking another, we'll always end up with confused results. Many people set themselves up to lose, working hard yet giving an ambivalent message to the universe about whether or not they really want money. I'm going to tell everybody right now, it is okay to be driven by money. It is okay to have a strong passion and desire to earn money or have an abundance and be financially free when it comes to money. Period. If you have a perspective or an idea that being poor, which I know in some environments, they're like, oh, it's, the poor man, will rise, this, that, and the other. Yes, and all that stuff is true. However, for you to be poor your whole life doesn't have to be your reality. And I say that with so much conviction because I think some of these social norms or these social ideologies and perspectives are a little backwards. And there's another reality to consider. I mean, there's an infinite number of realities to consider other than that one, right? So I think and I feel that, yes, it's okay. Be vocal about it. Be excited about it. Absolutely. I think the caveat to, assuming the feeling or enjoying the feeling of being a multi-billionaire and the caveat to that is just make sure that you're nice. Just work on you. So as those things come, be careful what you ask for, of course, because there's a lot of ways you have to change in order to be prepared for something like that. Things that we don't think about, right? So to say that I'm a multi-billionaire or to say I'm a multi-millionaire will require for me to change who I am today. Pause. That's one reality. There may be change involved in saying I want to be a multimillionaire, assuming the feeling that you may have to go through. Things might be a little shaken over here in your reality, a little bit shaken over here, or they may not be shaken, or they may not be shaken. And so the thing is to be mindful and be mindful of what you're asking for because it may require you to change and grow to a place that you may not want to be. So just think about that all the way through. But my point here is that still, do you deserve to be financially abundant? Absolutely. Do you deserve to not have any problems or stresses over money? Absolutely. Period. And if anybody tells you anything different, that's up to you to decide. But I definitely believe that when you hold that, and as the book is suggesting, when you hold that perspective that you are financially free today and that you are a 100,000-aire or a multimillionaire or multi-billionaire or multi-trillionaire, whatever you want to be, when you hold that perspective, you allow the universe to bless you. And that may be in your own respective job. If you're doing righteous work, the book suggests that you are doing you're doing yourself a favor and you're doing the person receiving your services a favor. And so it's a win-win for both people, so long as you're doing righteous work, right? And so you deserve it. Oh, you're cocky. Oh, you're overconfident. You want too much money. You're focused on too much money. No, I'm focused on being financially free. I'm focused on having an abundance. I'm focused on being able to buy anything that I want to buy, right? But along the way, I'm also focused on developing my person and my characteristics to be one that is anchored and humbled, to where I came from, and also growing and evolving to a place, that'll allow me to responsibly care and build wealth, for me, my family, and to create a new structural DNA, generational DNA that will change my last name forever and change other people's last names and generations forever. Like so much bigger, than, oh yeah, I just want a lot of money to go buy a Lambo. Well, in fact, I am going to buy, all those things that I want. But at the same time, I said the caveat is just remaining anchored in everything else, being abundant in everything else, everything that you are, everything that you can't see, right? I think is the important second half. Spiritual, material. You deserve both. The spiritual trumps, in my opinion, the material, because it is your imagination. It's something that we cannot see. It's the most powerful thing that creates. The material is just an illusion. It's just a fabrication of our imagination. So therefore, it's not real. So there is really no attachment to that when it comes down to it at the end of the day. Money is just a note. It's just a piece of paper. And so I'd rather, choose the road of spirituality and pause. Be careful what you say. No matter the level of financial freedom, I will always hold my spiritual self higher. And I'll leave it at that. Having been taught that poverty is holy, perhaps they think that rich people are therefore not holy. Having been taught that wealth is a finite resource, which is not true. 5% of all the wealth is controlled, right? By 5%, all the wealth of the world is controlled by the top 5% of the population, right? So they say, or 10%, whatever that low number is. That would give the indication or the implication that money is a finite resource. It is not, period, because it all starts right here. There is a world of abundance, an infinite space of abundance for everybody to eat the same way. Having been taught that wealth is a finite resource, some people think that to manifest money for themselves, by definition, to take money away from someone else. Whatever their reason is, many people don't think it's okay to desire money. And if you disown the desire, you literally disown money. The law of divine compensation. That's what this book is called. So there's a lady that Marianne met in the book, and her name was Judy. Judy has some experience in, she had a degree, Judy had a degree in nonprofit work and used to be a social worker. And I believe in social work, she had a degree also. And so Marianne had a conversation with her one day about her business. Her business was called Cafe Joy. So this story is going to provide some perspective, or at least I hope this story to provide some perspective of the way that you think and understanding where you come from, understanding how to detach from the past, knowing who you are today, and then using who you are today and who you know you are to manifest a reality that's bigger than anything you may have experienced in the past and that you're currently experiencing, okay? So Judy worked in these spaces, and her business was starting to fail. It was called Cafe Joy. And Marianne said, as she was having conversations with Judy was talking about how she wanted to create a space for people to come. And she pretty much created an environment that was like she was giving her services away, right? It was really supportive. She was not a big fan of capitalism. Marianne makes the mention like, well, whether she realizes it or not, she is a capitalist because she has a service and a food or a product, and she's selling it to people, and they're coming in, they're buying it, right? So she was in denial to the fact, Judy was in denial to the fact that she had a business that she needed to be for profit, okay? Doesn't matter if you go to a church, doesn't matter if you have a business. It may not be for profit, but you got to make money. The church, and excuse me for my ignorance on this to a certain degree, because I don't know the finances of a church. I've never owned one, but I've owned businesses, multiple businesses. So yes, a church, may not be quote unquote profitable, but they have a mortgage on that cathedral or that church that they're, the building that they have, their ceremonies in, or their church service in. They need to make money. And I know that because I've been to big churches, like huge churches. And I've always happened to go in during the time of financial season, where they're like, oh, hey, your donation or your tithe, right, to the church is, we need this, to do this, to do that, to do this. So my point here is like, they still need money. A church still needs money. Now let's throw that all aside, because I've seen, I've heard stories about people in churches and manifesting blessings and, spirit. Like there's a lot more stuff that's interwoven with that, which I think those things can also be interwoven with business too. But a lot of people, when they get into business, they're just thinking dollar service, dollar service, dollar service. How much can I charge, right? And there's this whole other manifestation period thing that I believe, and I've heard stories about people who lead churches, what they do in terms of growing and allowing God, to be God and pretty much create, miracles for the church, and I believe in that. So that's so powerful. But I take that same concept in business and life, period. And so in this story, let me tie it back and then I'll conclude. So she's creating a space where, like, on her actual menu, when you're looking at her menu, or on her receipt, I think it was, she says, "Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support." Yes, thank you for your support and your business, because you're spending money here. She's not making any money because her mindset is in a place of capitalism is not good. I'm here to support the community. I'm here to do this. There's nothing wrong with those things, but you have to remember or be mindful of what you're asking the universe to do. You're confusing the universe. You have a business that needs to make money in order for you to put food in your stomach and your family's and your family's stomach, if you have one, right? And you got to pay your space lease. So for you to say, oh, well, I just, want to support the community, then you probably shouldn't have a storefront. You see what I'm saying? So being mindful of like what you're asking for. There's nothing wrong with saying, yes, I want to be a support anchor for my community. And I also want to make a ton of money, period, because I want to grow. I want to have enough money. Pause. I enjoy the feeling of having an abundance of money where I can pay my commercial space or my business space lease for one entire full year, where people can come into the store and they support my business, and they contribute to my business, which then therefore allows me to help the community in this way or in that way, in this way and that way. And you get to you redirect the path of what all that stuff looks like. Marianne figured out that that this person was pretty much, like I said, in denial of what her true blessing was and what she really wanted. And she happened to always be running into people that needed something. And in social work, not to correlate that in the book, I don't think she meant to correlate it to any degree. So I'll just throw that out there. But in social work, a lot of the times people are in need of something. I don't know what it is, but because I'm not in social work, I'm not a social worker, but there's usually really a high dominant need where, like, in her store, she was getting people who were coming in who just needed stuff, just not needed stuff, but needed stuff and didn't want to pay in the store, right? So let me make that correlation clear. So if I feel that by asking you pay me, I'm ripping you off, of course I feel guilty about charging you money. This will then confuse the universal programming and deflect my abundance. Okay, so let me take that back into context. Judy was limiting people. Judy was limiting people from her past experiences in social work, is what the correlation was, and putting that on like her actual clients. So taking her past experiences and trying to apply it to her business model now. You're not, if you do righteous business and you're providing a service, Judy, and you're just an awesome person, and you give that to somebody else and they give you money for it, it's a win-win, because you are the mind, you are the soul, you are the spirit, you're the energy behind making that cafe what it is. You're making phenomenal food, right? You're making phenomenal coffee. So you're giving that to people, and then they're giving you their money. It's a righteous win-win for both parties. And so to limit people as if they're not, like they need something from you, or that they're not a financially abundant, is not the right mentality to have. Pause. May not be, no judgment, may be a mentality that doesn't create more financial abundance. Okay, now last and not least, once again, everything we experience in the world is a reflection of our thoughts. I'll read that one more time. Once again, everything we experience in the world is a reflection of our thoughts. If you feel the shame about celebrating money, don't expect money to celebrate you. If your making money is a ripoff of others and exploitation or unfair reach into someone else's pocket, then as a righteous person, you won't feel good about it, nor should you. Judy had come into contact with many people who were down and out and needed a helping hand. Perhaps she brought, and here's the correlation, perhaps she brought into her work as a cafe owner an energy that had been appropriate in her social work, right? But was not necessarily appropriate here. Her customers weren't coming to her for help. They were coming to her for coffee. Right. And that's it today. So, again, I think living a focused and a focused and intentional life is very important. Obviously, for many reasons. Okay. Your best you ever. December 10th, 2018. The title of this passage is Christ's love changes everything. Your old life is dead. Your new life, which is your real life, even though invisible to spectators, is with Christ in God. He is your life. Colossians 3:3. What does the love of Christ mean to his believers? It changes everything. His love is perfect and steadfast. Even though we are all fallible and wayward, the Good Shepherd cares for us still. Even though we have fallen far short of God's commandments, Christ loves us with a power and depth that is beyond our understanding. And as we accept Christ's love and walk in Christ's footsteps, our lives bear testimony to his power and to his grace. Yes, Christ's love changes everything. May we invite him into our hearts so it can change everything in us. Has he taken over your heart? Perhaps he resides there. But does he preside there? Vance Havner. It has been the faith of the Son of God who loves me and gave me himself for me that has held me in the darkest valley, in the hottest fires, in the deepest water. Elizabeth Elliot. That's facts. I like that one a lot. A lesson for the heart and soul. Jesus loves you, period. His love is amazing. It's wonderful. It's meant for you. And that's all she wrote. So thank you, everybody, for joining me. Day 40 of 365 with David McDonald, the GOAT, on the journey to greatness, season 2. And I will see you all tomorrow at 5 a.m. Please make sure to make today the best day of your life, as I know I will. And don't forget to laugh. Don't forget to spread joy any way that you can.